2025 brought major changes to top-tier credit cards, and 2026 is already shaking up the entire landscape. Bilt just revamped their entire setup, and the way other points are valued is shifting really fast. So it's time for a new list. These are the 5 best credit cards for 2026. These are based on what will actually give the most people the most value. I'll also include a few honorable mentions that are still great options. They just didn't quite make the top 5. Now let's get straight into the list. Starting with number 5, the Citi Custom Cash, which I believe is one of the most flexible credit cards on the market, whether you're going for points or cashback. The Custom Cash has no annual fee and typically has a $200 welcome bonus after spending $1,500 in the first 6 months. But what's interesting is that in the fine print, it tells you that bonus is actually paid out in 20,000 Citi thank you points, which in turn could be redeemed to $200 in cashback. And this is where it gets even more interesting. If you pair this card with a premium Citi card like the Citi Strata Premier, those thank you points could be transferred to travel partners, potentially giving you more than 1 cent per point in value. Now that's great to know, not just for the welcome bonus, but also for how you use this card. You get 5% back on any eligible category each billing cycle, and that's on to up to $500 of spend each month. Those categories include restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, streaming services, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, and live entertainment. This is why I say this is one of the most flexible cards on the market. It adapts to what you want to spend on and how you want to spend it. The way I personally use this card, and the way I think most people will as well, is to assign it to one of these specific categories and use it only on that category. That way you guarantee that it becomes your highest spending category of that billing cycle, and you lock in that 5% return. For me, it always ends up being gas. At the end of the day, it's simple, no annual fee, and extremely flexible. And in the right setup, it can earn serious value in categories where other cards might only offer you 1 to 2%. And as we move through this list, you'll see that this card sets the tone for what I think 2026 will be all about. Simplicity winning. Now stepping up from the Custom Cash, number 4 brings more long-term potential, and that's the Chase Freedom Flex. This is another no annual fee card that comes with a standard $200 welcome bonus after spending just $500 in the first 3 months. With the Freedom Flex, you earn 5% back on up to $1,500 in spending each quarter in rotating categories that change every 3 months. And just like the Custom Cash, Chase advertises this as cash back, but if you read the fine print, you're actually earning ultimate rewards points. So when they say 5% back, they actually mean 5x points on every dollar you spend. Over the years, we've seen categories like gas stations, grocery stores, Amazon, PayPal purchases, and more. And right now in Q1 of 2026, which is when this video is being filmed, dining is one of those rotating categories. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Freedom Flex already earns 3x back on dining as a base category. So when dining becomes a rotating 5x category, those rewards stack. The way Chase structures it is like this. You earn 1x on all purchases, then an additional 4x when it qualifies as a rotating category, and then a base 2x back on dining. When you combine those together, that results on 7x total points in dining during that quarter. On top of that, the Freedom Flex also earns 5x on travel booked through Chase, 3x on drugstores, and even includes basic travel protections, which is rare on a no annual fee card. But if you really want to unlock the potential of those ultimate rewards points, you need a card that allows you to transfer them to transfer partners. And this is where the Chase Sapphire Preferred comes into play. On its own, the Sapphire Preferred is a solid beginner travel card, but I don't think it's strong enough by itself to be a top 5 card in 2026, which is why I have it as an honorable mention, tied with the Freedom Flex. On its own, the Sapphire Preferred earns 5x on travel booked through Chase, 2x on any other travel, 3x on dining, 3x on select streaming services, and 1x on everything else. It also comes with a $50 annual hotel credit on stays booked through Chase, which helps offset the $95 annual fee. And one benefit many people overlook is Dash Pass, along with a benefit that I personally use all the time, which is a $10 monthly credit on non-restaurant purchases at DoorDash. This makes the Sapphire Preferred one of the best beginner travel credit cards on the market, especially because of its sign-up bonus. Right now, that bonus sits at 75,000 ultimate rewards points after spending $5,000 in the first 3 months. And that is where the real power comes in. Those 75,000 points could be combined with the Freedom Flex rewards, or even the third card in the Chase trifecta, the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which earns 1.5x back on all purchases. Once those points are pooled together, the Sapphire Preferred allows you to transfer them to Chase's transfer partners. And especially with partners like Hyatt, I've personally been able to redeem ultimate rewards points at a value of 2 cents per point. That transferability alone is why I believe believe that at least 2 cards from the Chase trifecta can make a lot of sense for the average person. Now let's move on to a card from American Express. When it comes to Amex, it's actually really hard to find a card that actually applies to most people, because many of their top cards have turned into what a lot of people call a coupon book of credits. But there's still one card that keeps things simple and practical, which makes it easy to recommend. And that's the Blue Cash Everyday. The Blue Cash Everyday has no annual fee, and it typically comes with a $200 welcome offer after spending $2,000 in the first 6 months. But the real value is in the earning structure. You earn 3% cash back at US supermarkets, 3% on online retail purchases, and 3% at US gas stations, on up to $6,000 in spending per category per calendar year. Those are 3 of the most practical spending categories for the everyday person. On top of that, the Blue Cash Everyday also comes with up to $84 per year in Disney bundle credits. After enrolling, you can receive up to $7 per month in statement credits when you use the card for eligible Disney Plus, Hulu, or ESPN Plus subscriptions. So if you're already paying for one of those subscriptions, this card is offsetting that cost. And that's without charging you an annual fee. It's rare to find this combination of annual credits and benefits on a card that doesn't charge you an annual fee. And that's why this card earns the number 3 spot on my list. Now, until this point, we've talked mostly about no annual fee cards, but number 2 shifts gears. This is where we step into the premium tier of credit cards, but in a way that still makes sense for most people. Number 2 is the Capital One Venture X. In a world where many high-end travel credit cards have become coupon books, full of complicated credits, Capital One has kept the Venture X relatively simple for a premium credit card. The standard welcome offer is 75,000 miles after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. At a minimum redemption value of 1 cent per point, that's $750 in year 1 value. And for those who know how to transfer miles to travel partners, those miles could be potentially worth closer to 2 cents per mile, or around $1,500 in value. But even if you want to think conservatively at 1 cent per mile, you're already far ahead of the $395 annual fee in year 1. And the real reason most people don't mind this $395 annual fee is because of the built-in credit. You get an annual $300 worth of travel credit that you could spend through Capital One, plus 10,000 anniversary miles that can be valued at a minimum of $100 back. That's effectively $400 in value every single year. So naturally, if you use those benefits, the card essentially offsets its own annual fee. On top of that, the Venture X also includes a statement credit of up to $120 for global entry or TSA PreCheck every 4 years. It's not something you use every year, but it's another real travel perk that adds to long-term value, especially if you fly even a few times a year. A few years ago, a $395 annual fee felt reasonable, but compared to today's high-end travel cards, it feels refreshing. Outside of the credits, the Venture X is an excellent earner. It earns 10x miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, 5x on flights and vacation rentals through the portal, and 2x miles on all other purchases. That 2x on everything makes this one of the best catch-all cards you could get on the market. Now yes, you do have to book through the Capital One Travel portal to earn those 10x and 5x multipliers, but in my opinion, Capital One's travel portal is one of the better ones available. With features like price drop protection, price matching, and price alerts, that makes it one of the few travel portals that are actually worth using. The Venture X also includes strong travel protections, rental car coverage, no foreign transaction fees, cell phone protection, and up to 4 additional authorized users at no additional cost. However, as of February 2026, there was a change. Additional cardholders no longer receive complimentary lounge access. The primary cardholder still gets Capital One Lounge and Priority Pass lounge access, but authorized users now have to pay separately for lounge access. Even with that change, the Venture X still remains one of the easiest travel cards to recommend. It's simple, it's high value, and it still remains to be one of my top picks even in 2026. And finally, we move on to the next card, which you probably could have guessed was coming next. The card that pairs perfectly with the Venture X and also has no annual fee. That's the Capital One Saver Rewards card. The Saver is marketed as a cashback card and typically comes with a $200 welcome offer after spending $500 in the first 3 months. It earns unlimited 3% cash back on dining, grocery stores, entertainment, and popular streaming services. It also earns 5% back on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, and it has no foreign transaction fees, which makes it usable internationally without added cost. But the real superpower of this card is what happens when you combine it with a card like like the Venture X. When paired together, the cashback from the saver can be converted into Capital One miles. That conversion happens at a rate of $1 of cash back equals 100 miles. So that $200 welcome bonus becomes 20,000 miles. And those 3x categories effectively turn into 3x transferable miles per dollar. This pairing is often referred to as the Capital One duo. You get 2x miles on everything with the Venture X, and then 3x miles on lifestyle categories with the saver. Premium travel perks, and on top of all that, a setup that stays simple. And that's exactly what I think defines the best credit card strategy of 2026. Simplicity, but with upside. And that's my list of the 5 best credit cards I would recommend for 2026. The game is changing, points are being valued differently, and simplicity is finally starting to win again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you had to build a setup right now, what would it look like? Drop it in the comments down below. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, and I reply to every single comment. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.